of money, and do it, fairly quickly and hopefully have an impact. So anyway, it's exciting. It's almost finished, which is exciting. And then it's off to P&Z and the town boards to start implementing. So,
all right, thank you, Gordon.
Thank you.
Any questions for Gordon? Okay, let's talk about the Buy Hire Local campaign. So you all had seen the, and we voted on the logo that we created for that. Dee has been traveling, so she wasn't able to work with me the last couple days, but we're planning for poster stickers, a few print ads that would be more localized, and boosted posts in town. So it would just be a reminder, especially during the holidays. We wanted to get that going in November, just to remind people that if you have the opportunity to buy local, and if people have goods that they're selling or special hours for their shop or anything like that, they can hashtag, buy local Cornwall. I forget the exact hashtag we came up with. We'll make sure to publicize that, and it'll be on the stickers and flyers. And that way somebody will know that they're having special offerings for local people during this time. Any questions on that for right now? I think what we'll probably do, go ahead, Jane. Jane, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
There, okay, did it.
Excellent.
I just wanted to say that I think it's, great to encourage the buy local, but I think we need to define local in terms of the people we want to buy locally in Cornwall. It would be great if we can extend that campaign so that people in, Falls Village, in Sharon, and surrounding towns are encouraged to come to Cornwall to buy local. And I was thinking specifically that if we can maybe target the local, in other words, not buy local, but the local, by supporting that and publicizing it a little bit more like a Winter's Farmer Market, we're in effect supporting all the farms that partake. And through the winter months, I think it's an opportunity to try and get people to come to Cornwall and support that.
That's an excellent suggestion, Jane. Thank you. I believe the local defined local as, I think it was 50 miles, but I'm going to double check with Libby Mitchell. Would that be acceptable to everybody if we had, buy local as defined in a 25 or 50 mile radius? What would you feel comfortable with? Anybody have any suggestions?
That picks up White Plains, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure.
Area, so.
Okay. Do you want to use the same definition that the local uses of the I believe it's 50 miles, but again, I can double check on that. Does anybody have strong feelings it should be this or that or something else?
I think 50 miles puts you on the other side of the Hudson River and past Hartford somewhere. So I think it sort of loses its meaning a bit if you go there.
Okay.
Perhaps another way to look at it is to buy Cornwall. Just a thought, because we also view Cornwall as not being limited to the town size. The town geographic boundaries, we call it Greater Cornwall, which can extend to all our friends and family that are farther than our boundaries. But I think
like buy from Cornwall is what you mean?
What?
Yeah, buy from Cornwall? Like
yeah,
come and buy from
Cornwall. I mean, it's
okay.
kind of, I'm not sure if it makes any sense, but it's sort of like, and again, it to me, what it conveys too, there's a reason to come here. The people from Falls Village can come here and buy, Cornwall stuff. But I don't know, you're the marketer, I'm not. But I thought that, and then the other thing I thought of too was to push like the great outdoors, Four Seasons, and to, again, the thought of trying to rebrand the town, which I'm not a big brander, but just to say, the great outdoors, or, the thought that we have so much here, Four Season outdoors, and again, to push people towards, Mohawk is already sold out of its senior season passes, but to push the Three Guys and the fishing and the biking and the stuff that's here.
Okay.
Three Seasons, because and again, have that lined up for Christmas, so they can come to Cornwall, stop and, buy James Potts on the way down to the the
Sure.
villages.
Sure. I think that's terrific. Arnon, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was just kind of piggybacking off of what Jane had said and what Gordon was talking about. I definitely don't think there's a lot of utility in a specific geographic range mile-wise, but I think if the local, if it was like buy it at the local or something like that was the hashtag, and then the local served as a hub that had all the different brochures and pamphlets you need for Mohawk and the bike shop and all the other, outdoor activities we're trying to advertise, and maps of like where the trails are and all that kind of stuff. That could be a good way to kind of tie it together and bring our digital marketing efforts into like a single physical space where it could be concentrated.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, that could be kind of the hub of things. If there are different shops that want to bring down, you can come up to my place or buy it from my farmer stand or that kind of stuff. We can, have maps of those kind of things. If somebody wanted to do a farm stand thing or what have you, we could provide those maps also. Okay, I think these are really good ideas. Anybody else have some ideas around this? Yeah, Gary.
What you both, Arnon and Gordon, had just talked of is, I think, makes it much more of a resonating campaign. Buy local is a generic concept. Buy local at the local would be something that would grab my attention and make me want to read a bit more.
I totally agree. Yeah, that's fun too. I mean, it also gives a place for people to go. And if they haven't been local, it gives them an opportunity and another reason to do so. That's fantastic. Okay. I'll talk to Libby because Libby's going to have to batten down the hatches. She's going to have a waiting line outside the local. Like she'll have to maybe we'll have to buy her velvet ropes or something. That'd be kind of cool. All right. Any other thoughts on that? I mean, I think it makes it an easier campaign. I have to say that it makes it a little bit easier to execute because it's really, a centrally focused thing. And we have, my goodness, I think there are over 40 vendors there now. So, it's really representing a nice cross section of Cornwall for sure, and all different kinds of stuff. If anybody has thoughts, even as you walk away, just, drop them to me and let me know any thoughts that you have on that. We can't do a discussion, but if you have any ideas, I'm always happy to get those. And, as we kind of put it together, we have it already designed because we already did the logo and everything. We'll just do a little bit of messing around with it. Neil, I may come and talk to you for some ideas too, if you don't mind. All right. Excellent. Those are great.
I think
ideas.
also we do also want to not forget Cornwall Bridge because that is really a commercial hub that's, 24/7 or 7 days or whatever it is.
Yep.
So that would be my only, I like the thing, but maybe there can be, that's why I sort of said Cornwall. So we didn't just limit it to West Cornwall. Because, it's booming in Cornwall Bridge, which is important to keep that going and keep the focus, I think, on both commercial centers.
We can talk about, and we can put those on maps. So, we can just point out, where to go to get the local stuff. I think that would certainly cover both. Okay. Let's talk about budget because we need to work on budget and goals. I think when I thought about it, it made some sense to kind of look at our budget and then we could kind of craft our goals out of this because we already have a few programs that we're looking to support. So I want to just remind you kind of what we've talked about supporting to date and then some additional requests that come in. And then I thought that we could say, let's prioritize what we're doing and come up with, 3 goals that we would be able to tackle just because now we have some concrete stuff to do. So I thought it made the most sense. And if anybody has a different way to approach it, I'm totally happy to hear it. But let me just share, and I believe it's in the new business section, if you can refer to that. I'm tweaking the numbers a slight bit, so bear with me. For buy hire local, we had set aside, or we had talked about $1,000 budget. If we're doing it in this way, it might make it a little bit simpler. To be honest, I think it might. I think that budget would do just fine. Wi-Fi in Cornwall Village. We've done it in West Cornwall already, so we know what the budget is to do that. And that would cover everything we need. The Christmas display and event, we have $1,200 set aside for that. That was what Bill McLean had come and asked for. We may want to add a few more beans in that pot, just so that we don't have to worry about that. That's something we can come back to in just a second. I did get Duncan had asked for some budget to create a map of cross-country ski trails.
Wait. Not even,
Talked about what you're thinking.
no, not even close to being ready to ask for budget amount, but just there were new ideas asked for, and one thing that I was thinking about is that would it be great at some point to create some kind of a map that shows cross-country ski trails for people coming to the community, but it's one of those sort of much easier said than done things, because there are some cross-country ski trails, but I gather that they go through private property, and I'm sure property owners don't want all of a sudden people to be coming through their property. So we need to first of all establish if there are trails that can take more people. How do we develop maps of those trails? And then we can think about promoting that map and what it means. So I think we need to talk about it for a couple more months before we get there. So,
Related to that, is there a single map which shows all the trails through the forests? I know there are maps of individual trails, but is there a one sort of master map which allows someone to see where all the trails throughout Cornwall are?
It's actually interesting, Simon. The Northwest Hills Council of Governments, the famous COG, has put together a trail map, and it's for the whole northwestern region, which is really interesting because there are substantial trails that bisect everything. And I know Rick Lynn from Cornwall had a lot to do with that. So I'm pretty sure Cornwall's, at least the Blue Blaze trails and the Appalachian Trail and thing are on that, and it's on their website.
I mean, making that available, I think, would be good.
Yeah.
We could pull that onto ours, and we could probably get permission to pull that onto our site too. They haven't done anything with the ski trails, right? The cross-country ski trails?
No, but
okay.
to follow that up, Duncan, there are some roads that I used to ski when I was younger that are in the state forest roads, and those have places to park and things that would at least be fairly easy to get permission to list them, that don't get plowed in the wintertime. In Mohawk, and also at the end of Town Street, there's some substantial road networks that are good skiing, depending on the year.
Okay, so Duncan, would you be willing to do a little exploration and just see if we can figure out, what exists and what would need to be done to put something like that together?
yep.
Yeah, if you need somebody else to assist you, you've got other people on the commission that would be able to jump in and help too.
I'll certainly be in touch with our first selectman.
Okay.
Yes, awesome. I'll be glad to assist.
Excellent. Okay.
I have a question. We're referring to both Wi-Fi in Cornwall Village and Wi-Fi in West Cornwall. Where is the Wi-Fi in West Cornwall, and what are you proposing for Cornwall Village?
The Wi-Fi in West Cornwall is in the Union.
And it's an open Wi-Fi, or is it
Yes.
Have a password?
No, there's no password. You can just jump on to Cornwall free Wi-Fi, and it shows up. So if you have a mobile right there, or a desk, or a laptop with you, you can jump right onto Cornwall free Wi-Fi.
Okay. And that's coming out of the local?
Yes, out of the Union.
The Union, yes. And so the area that it covers is?
It's, I think it goes up to about 500 feet. If you're like walking one way or another. I think that, I haven't exactly tested it, but I know that you can get it for probably 500 feet outside the building.
That's quite a distance.
Yeah, and you can get repeaters too. I mean, that's something that we were talking about down the road, but we kind of wanted to get the 3 areas established for when people are in the local or in the union or in that area, they would be able to jump on, no problem.
And where are you, in the Cornwall Village, you're tying it into the town hall? Presumably?
Library, probably.
Library?
Yeah, we've had discussions about this.
And is that does it just come off of their internet then, or whoever's internet is that how it is?
So we can get into the logistics of it, but I mean, I did not set it up. Ed Advance had set it up for us. So basically what we did was we bought 500 megabits. So we upgraded the optimum package. And then we, what's the word for it? We kind of cordoned off part of that, so that would have just be, so that it was protecting that piece of it and wouldn't be affecting the rest of the internet service available to, the local or in the union. So it's kind of like you square part of that off, and it's available for free Wi-Fi. And that's the same thing that we would do down at the library.
Okay, I'm asking because I have Wi-Fi here at the store, and people use it all the time, either in the store or in the parking lot. People come in regularly saying, "Can I get it, be attached to your Wi-Fi?" Which I'm not charging them, and I'm not paying any extra for it. So I'm not quite sure what. Now, granted, nobody's sitting there for an hour tied in doing a lot of stuff, and it may not be the fastest speeds. That's true. So I guess getting faster is always better.
Yeah, we had talked to the Cornwall Country Market originally, just because they had places, to sit down, and people were usually eating a sandwich, and then they could see where they were going to go next, or kind of what their plans were. But I don't think that's been set in stone just yet.
I'm just wondering, what the, I guess it does actually cost that much, is where I'm going with this, to get upgraded Wi-Fi. Is that a one-shot?
That's for the equipment.
That's for the equipment.
Yes.
Wow.
That's just for the equipment.
Okay. I'm impressed.
Okay, any other questions, Richard?
I guess what I'm saying is that I have a $50 router or modem, whatever it is, and people use it all the time. So I'm not paying extra for it. So I'm just surprised by how much it's costing.
Well, what you want to do is you want to have it you don't want to expose, typically a business like yours wouldn't want to expose your whole network to people just jumping on there. It may not be as big a deal for you, but for, other places it might be a bigger deal. And typically you would want to secure that.
I think another big factor in the cost is also you're trying to project it, because ostensibly a lot of the value is like people come to the farmer's market, they can't use their cell phone, their Google Maps don't work, they get annoyed by it, they're like, oh, it's just terrible to go there because I don't have any service and I can never get a hold of anybody. And if you expand the library's footprint just even a couple hundred yards in each direction, you suddenly cover the main corner of that part of the town that people are going to need that service in. And so, like you were saying, it makes sense to do that, Cornwall Country Market probably if it's feasible, but the extra cost is the difference between your Wi-Fi ending basically at the end of your parking spaces and the Wi-Fi in West Cornwall extending all that distance.
Well, you can also, one of the other advantages is, we can buy another one of these repeaters, and those are not expensive at all. Those are, $150. And now I can extend it another distance. As long as the two repeaters can see each other, you can do it building to building. So for example, from the local, you could do it up to 3 guys skiing ride, and then they would have free Wi-Fi up there. It probably reaches up there. I honestly, I haven't checked, but I know it goes pretty far, because you can get it, we've been getting it into Railroad Square. So it does go fairly far, but we can also extend it down the road. So you can, as long as they can see each other, you can repeat it for quite a ways. So it does have quite an advantage. It just allows you to extend, like the core system is set up and now you can send it down the road. It does get a little bit weaker as you send it, 2 miles down the road, but there's no reason to send it 2 miles down the road. You just need it for, the immediate business area, which makes sense. We would check it out. Jaron could help us with that too. We had planned for probably one more repeater in the downtown area. We were talking about doing it in the back, but it was going to be one of the back buildings anyway. So we had pretty good reception here. Any other questions on that? Yeah, and we can keep talking about that because like one of the things I can do is I can go out and I'll walk around and test it tomorrow if it's not pouring sideways and just see how far I can get it. But I do know that people have been using it down the railroad square, down towards the bike shop and up towards Three Guys because I've heard people talking about it.
We ought to make sure the new restaurant can fit in with that too.
Oh yeah. Well then too, we can see the building from there. So if we have line sight, we can actually give them a repeater and they can pull it down there too. Okay. The other thing that we were asked about, and that was just today, was from the website committee. So their hosting and software renewals are coming up soon. They were talking about our pages that they did for us. The EDC pages have gotten over 800 page views since summer. So we're getting, the EDC area is getting a lot of traction. Our budget previously was $1,000 and we did some boosting, so it was probably a little bit more than that. But it was about $1,000 for our budget just for our website, Consider Cornwall, that we had previously. So what they're looking to do is create the events calendar, business directory. They want to do more social media. So they are asking for a budget of $600 for all their website activities and then $300 for social media boosting capabilities so they can do some advertising and some just more robust posting in social media. They've been pretty active. So their Facebook page is pretty busy from what I can see, and we're getting great traction. It just made sense to perhaps budget for that. We do have the budget for it, and I'm just curious if anybody has any thoughts.
Sorry, I just have a question. You're saying
Sure.
that the $300 is for paid advertising on social media?
So you can do boosts. So if they're doing, for example, for our Christmas event, they can boost and they can send out that message, and it's much more visible to visitors and people not only within Cornwall but otherwise. And it's cheaper to do than advertising.
Good. That's what I wondered, if it was for the paid advertising. Yeah.
Yes. So it would be, like we've got quite a few events that we're going to have going on. And it would be really tremendous to be able to get more of the public aware of those events and participating with it too.
Sounds to me.
Right? And so it seems completely reasonable. I mean, it's less than our original budget was for kind of the whole ball of wax. So we would have, I gotta do some adding here. This is just kind of spitballing. Buy and hire. Let's see, we got 1,000 there, plus 1,500, plus 100. All right, so that's 4,600. And we have around a little over $6,000 to spend. So we still have budget left. The only thing that I was a little bit worried about was the Christmas display and event. I'm wondering if we should put a few more dollars into that bucket. Does anybody have any thoughts or strong feelings about that?
Where are we? What are the events going to be?
So we have the Christmas, remember we had the 12 days of Christmas with the windows. So it's going to encompass Cornwall Bridge also. and they are looking at building a drive-through experience. We wanted to make it, like a COVID-safe kind of thing, but it would be one where you could, drive up. They were talking about having something about, like an interaction with Santa of some sort that wasn't necessarily like a sit-on Santa kind of thing, because that might not be so attractive during potential, you know what I'm getting at. And then it could be a drive-in experience. So it would be kind of, yeah. So Bill, I don't think they have their ideas completely formulated, but they were talking about a way to, see Santa and then drive through and had Christmas lights and stuff like that.
And how much of it?
Last year, trying to put up some decorations on the bridge.
Yes.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, and I mean, encouraging the businesses to decorate also. So we would want to, send out word, probably do some flyers, probably do a little bit of advertising around that, just to encourage people to kind of take in the spirit. I'm just curious if anybody has some thoughts on how much. Jane, did you have a question on that?
We've already said 1,200 for that?
We said we budgeted 1,200 for that. Does that feel reasonable, or do you think we should put in a few more?
That seems to me reasonable, but I haven't ever built a big Christmas display, so.
Yeah, I know, right?
My only thought, Janet, is maybe an idea is to talk to Dale Jones over at WZBG. I think that's what it is, over in Litchfield. Because again, there's a lot of people in Torrington, Litchfield, Goshen area listen to that station, and you think about where, if you're looking for people that he lives on the West Bank in Sharon. He drives through the bridge every day.
Okay.
Just a little interview with him, and he's a good guy. And I think he would probably he might even do a, sometimes he goes out and does a little road show. So I think that's sort of an untapped resource. And I was in Torrington today, and there he is on the radio. And I think a lot of people listen to him. So if you really want to get people, that's probably a good way to get a market beyond our hills, I mean, and I have no idea, but I bet he could do a lot for a little for us.
Is there going to be a cost there, Gordon? Do you know?
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be. I mean, I'm thinking getting some radio spots. When I went in to do my interview, I thought it was interesting. The three guys were already one of his sponsors, and they were buying airtime. I'm sort of thinking, like, why, if we have this Cornwall program, why can't we promote all the businesses, West Cornwall, Cornwall Bridge,
Sure.
The outlying districts, whatever, with the Shop Cornwall thing.
Well,
and
cool.
Dale can also, he can talk it up because he is, he drives through the place on the way to work. And
Okay.
he might even come out to if you have an event, he might even come out and do a little live mic.
Okay. All right. So do you want to budget 500 for radio spots then? Because we could split that up between the local, the buy local and the Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any strong feelings about that one way or another? Okay. I'm sorry, Simon?
No, I'm in favor. I think that would be good.
Okay.
I think it's good to do to hit it in a couple different ways.
Yeah, sure.
That works.
Yeah, right? All right. So that would leave us with around $1,000 left in our kitty to, if other things came down the pike. That's probably not a bad idea to leave a few beans in the pot since it's only October. Anybody have anything else that they would want to budget for?
Maybe this is a little optimistic, but do we know when the restaurant is going to open? Is there any way we can build something around that? They've just opened a new restaurant in Canaan, the Industrial Cafe or something, which is,
Yes.
I went there the other night. It was absolutely hopping.
Oh, nice.
So I assume that, our restaurant is going to do pretty well once it opens, but how
Sure.
can we sort of leverage off?
I've heard different things. I wouldn't want to venture a guess, but they seem like they're getting, pretty far down the pike. I mean, it feels like a New Year kind of thing, if I had to guess. I haven't heard of an official announcement or an official date as of yet, but they've been going gangbusters down there, I know. So I suspect that they're going to want to start the new year and get rolling. Gordon, do you have any insights on that?
I mean, they're saying December,
Okay.
But again, my guess is they're gonna be plenty busy, to start, especially if it happens in December around the holidays, there's gonna be a lot of residual interest and a lot of hype.
Sure.
But I'm thinking maybe if we had another little burst of advertising in the spring, when they're, once they settle in around that, and the whole thing of the rebirth of West Cornwall, come see it, blah, 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 blah. And, and again, push it in a different season.
Okay. So perhaps we could
Maybe hold back on a little bit.
Yeah, so maybe what we could do is do a spring advertising campaign. For any other new businesses that come along, or anybody who wants to promote like what they're doing. Maybe Jane's going to be selling lots of stuff. I mean, who the heck knows? So and this as like a new spring thing. So we can tuck aside $500 for that if you'd like.
Something like make a day of it in Cornwall.
Yeah, you can get all your gardening supplies at Northeast Building Supply. Come out and see that happening, and take a hike, take a ride, go see Bob.
Excellent. All right. So
have lunch.
We've got we'll leave a little bit in the kitty then. So that leaves us probably about $500 to monkey around with when the spirit moves us to do so. Okay, so what we probably want to do now is, put some goals around these so that we can really focus on what we're doing. Let's see. So let's start first.
Hold on. So these.
Go ahead, Duncan.
It's just sort of broad discussion. So are you going to formalize this into a budget proposal?
Yes.
We're going to approve, and in what meeting does that happen at?
So if you're comfortable, we have the numbers. We have the budget, so we could approve the budget tonight.
I think you've got to lay it out, let everybody see everything, what it all adds up to. And
okay. We would want to launch the buy local, so I would want to get. I think we'd want to get the buy local approved, that piece of budget approved, so we could get started on that before the holidays.
But when does the budget year begin?
The budget year It has begun.
So all right. So we haven't done our budget for the year we're in.
We knew what our total budget is. What we were waiting for was ideas from people on what they wanted to spend it on.
Okay.
And so we have that now. Do we want to go ahead and approve the 1,500? Oh, let's see, we had 1,000 for that. Sorry. For the buy hire local campaign. Does someone want to make a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Okay, Kate, second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving $1,000 for the buy hire local campaign, please raise.
So are we going to approve each piece at one at a time, or is that what we're planning?
No. The only thing that's we need to get moving on is the buy hire local, because we're doing that for holidays. Obviously the Christmas display, we're going to have to get moving on that as well. But they usually, we might be able to have them get reimbursed. I could talk to Bill about that.
Well, so we're looking at doing the buy local, buy Cornwall, however you want to. That aspect is getting approved at this point. And if the Christmas event is 40 days away, 50 days away. It's so that has to be in the pipeline also, I would think.
Well, we could amend the motion.
If that's in fact what we're doing, but so the 1,200 for the Christmas display, that's to build this thing that you're talking about? Is that what the concept was?
Yes.
And what else? Would that also be to promote it also?
Yeah, the total budget that the Bill and his team have asked for is $1,200.
I know, but what are we getting for that? That's what I'm asking. Is we getting?
So we did the 12 days of Christmas. They're looking at building, I mean, they haven't given us the complete concept, but the idea that they came to us with was the 12 days of Christmas encompassing both here in Cornwall Village, a drive-through element, and a visit to Santa Claus. And Park and Rec can help with that, I'm sure, too.
Are the Christmas windows completely separate from that?
That's included in that.
It's included.
That's what Bill had said, that they're kind of building on that idea, to making it a bigger idea this year. Which I thought was great, because the windows obviously went over extremely well. So would you like to amend the motion? Richard, since you brought it up, why don't you amend the motion then?
I'm just trying to get an idea of what we're doing. I'm not, it's, so is this also is promoting the concept too?
Well, we have, the radio spots, that would be part of Christmas. But again, if we wanted to do that next month, obviously we're not going to be starting radio spots before November.
But I thought the radio spots weren't strictly for the Christmas thing. I thought they were, what Gordon was saying was more in the whole promote Cornwall, buy Cornwall, in a wider sense, no?
So we had the $500 for the Make It a Day in Cornwall kind of thing for the spring. We had radio spots. I guess we would be doing it for both the buy local and for the Christmas. So I think we would have to approve that also. So Duncan, I'm sorry, this is getting a little more complicated. There's some things that are more timely that we're going to need to approve. So it looks like buy hire local, it's 1,000, Christmas display and event, which is 1,200, and the radio spots that are 500 that we should probably approve now.
Now, weren't the radio spots also supposed to go through spring? I thought.
No, that's a separate line item. Because
see.
we have radio spots for the holiday and the buy local, and then we have a new spring business radio that we would do. And that was 500 separate dollars.
And the thought is, because I have no idea how much it costs to do the radio stuff, it's probably manageable, but we'll base what happens on the spring with the idea that, see how it goes over the holidays. But I would think most people are going to come and make a trip and shop, or, that's going to be a large part of the shopping year is over the holidays. So I would sort of concentrate your efforts there and save some for the spring, because another whole burst there's not a lot of people shopping in February, March. But, come April, everybody will be moving around, especially if we got the restaurant to talk about. So I agree, I think those three motions would get you going, Janet.
Okay.
A motion made by Richard to approve the buy hire, Christmas display, and the holiday radio spot elements of the budget.
Yes.
Okay. And we just need a seconder discussion.
Yes. A second. Okay, we got a second from Priscilla. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, looks like we're unanimous. Excellent. Sorry, guys, I know that's it gets a little bit hairy when you're trying to figure out what all you got to do, but I think that's important to get done. So what I'll do is I'll put together.
But, isn't there a norm for a commission like this that the budget for the year is established and approved before the year begins, and that somehow within that budget there's a certain amount of discretion so that whoever has control of it can make some decisions as the year progresses, right?
Yeah, the difference is we usually don't meet during the summer, so we usually start in September. So our last month was kind of just, getting started again. So typically, we're just getting everything finalized between September and October. So we get our ideas put together, then, we have the budget already. We just need to know how to kind of dice it up based on the ideas that we want to support.
But to Duncan's point, just for people that don't know, in January, the commission should adopt a budget for next year, which would start on July 1st of next year. So it should be fairly detailed as far as where that $6,000 is going. We're giving this commission some latitude because things are still a little dynamic. But I mean, I think getting and with more experience, I think like this 12 Days of Christmas thing may be an annual event, and if your radio works, fine. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So you probably want to do brochures every year and have some new ideas able to be funded also. There's also the ability, if you get a good track record, there is an activity fund where if in years past the commission has solicited funds from businesses to do things like promotion, and if you have a really good season, then instead of everybody having to go out and buy their own advertising, bet everybody would kick in a couple $100 to a fund for really for the campaign. So this is still a work in progress, but appreciate your efforts and things.
The other thing that I'm looking at on the website and social media for the town of Cornwall, they're looking for some funds. It looks like their yearly hosting and software renewals are coming up, and they are looking for funding. So I'm wondering if we should approve that 900 tonight.
I missed what you're saying. Who's looking for them?
The Cornwall website committee.
They wanted 300 for social media, you said.
Yes. Okay? Yeah, and 600, that includes all their hosting, domain renewal, software, software subscriptions. Then it has all their elements like their events and business directory and their firewall.
So Richard, will you go back and revise your motion?
You want to amend the motion, Richard, to include the $900 for the website committee?
We pretty much spent our budget then, I think, on all of this. Is that?
Well, the only thing left would be the Wi-Fi and the spring radio spots.
So, but the question is whether are we happy doing, spending all of the money then at this point? We're pretty much allocating all the money. If that's,
I think it sounds, I mean, when, and I've been thinking about this plenty, I feel like these are very sound things to spend our money on. I think that, these are things that would get traction. We already know, the experience with West Cornwall with the Wi-Fi has gone over extremely well. The Christmas play, we've already voted on. Radio spots, I haven't done much radio advertising, but I do know it's made a pretty big comeback. There's, and I think it's a very reasonable and it gets good reach. And you can also get the recording so it can be on websites and social media. So it's not just on the radio, you can actually get those spots to be able to reuse them.
okay, I mean, yes, I'll amend my, it's not, I didn't even make the motion. I'll amend the motion. I'll make an amendment to the motion that we approve the $1,000 for the buy local program, the $1,200 for the Christmas display, $500 for radio advertising, and
radio advertising.
Yes.
And $1,200, and how much?
$900 for the website and social campaigns for the website committee.
And this is the Cornwall CT committee.
Yes. Yes.
And $900 for them, and that's a total of, I don't have my pen so sharp. My pen. So what's that a total of?
Hang on, I can do the math.
We have 1,000, 1,200, 500, and 900. We have that correct?
That's correct. That's $3,600.
So that's $3,600 we're talking about. So I'll make a motion that, I'll amend the motion that we approve $3,600 of our budget in total in those 4 areas.
Do I have a second? Priscilla is seconding.
Seconded, yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Well, do we first vote on the amendment?
We're voting on the amended motion,
Going
yes.
back and doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Okay, that's unanimous also. Okay. All right, well, we're getting some stuff done here. I'm gonna look in chat in case anybody's talking to me.
So just, it says in the minutes from the last meeting that discussions for the 2022 budget should begin soon. So who's responsible for that?
Kate is our treasurer,
God bless you, Kate.
right?
Yeah, I'm also the president of the Cornwall Child Center and the treasurer for the CCSFE. So I've been a little busy lately.
Right?
Everybody in there, yeah, has got a budget that needs to be done. So, yeah, I
will put it together, Kate, and just shoot it because I've got the notes here. And then I will put the whole budget together so we can see like what we've talked about as a whole, what we've approved, and then the other line items that we have that are we'll discuss next time so that we can, if there's anything in the meantime that comes up, anybody can add in something else that they want to do, or we can make some adjustments. Neil, did you want to say something?
I just had a question about the budgeting year. So the fiscal year starts in July 1,
Yes.
is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're 4 months into the current.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't meet in July or August. So we're typically like in September, we're just kind of getting things going, and it's usually October we have our budget, our items decided on. Not that we hadn't been discussing it, but then we say this is what we're going to do, and then we move forward.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, there may be a different way to do it, but this is kind of how we've done it. I'm open to doing it any way that gets it done and makes it expedient. So anytime anybody has ideas about that, bring it on. All right. Okay. If there are any, anything else anybody wants to talk about as far as this goes? Like budget of the items that we've talked about. Because I'm going to reach out to the people who this impacts and just let them know. So that they can come, perhaps we can have those folks come to us and just say, this is exactly what I'm going to do. This is exactly how it's going to be. This is exactly what I need from you. That would probably be a wise thing to do for our next meeting. Anybody else with any comments on that? Okay. Do you want to move into new ideas? If anybody has anything that they'd like to throw out, we talked a little bit about the ski maps, which I think is terrific. I'm just looking to see if I've got any other notes here. Seems like Bianca had something she was talking about. And maybe she was just making corrections to the minutes. Anybody else?
When is your next meeting? Because right now if it's what I think it is, it's going to be like right near Thanksgiving. Do you want to have something earlier? And that will give you more flexibility towards the holidays.
Right now it's for November 23rd. I would be open to that.
Or I don't know, just think about that a moment.
We would have to make it a special meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Let's see. What would you guys want to do as far as that goes? Would you want to meet in 2 weeks to really talk about the rest of this stuff?
Sorry, the objection is a meeting two days before Thanksgiving?
Yes. I'm looking for,
if you met in 3 weeks, you'd be.
in 3 weeks, it would be before. And so could we replace one meeting with the other? Or you'd probably want to do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, what's that date?
Well, the 16th is 3 weeks out. The 30th is 5 weeks out. That may be a little late, but.
Yep. So I am thinking the 16th, I'm just going to double check that. I don't see anything crazy on there. How would you feel about having a special meeting for all of our planning on the 16th at 7:30? Would you guys be open to do a special meeting?
Works for me.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Everybody's okay with that? All right. I will put that out to get that. And then we won't have one on the 23rd then, which would probably be good because everybody's going to be making cranberry sauce or something, right? Got to plan your turkey.
You just have to notice that the regular meeting ends up being canceled.
Yep. I'm sure Vera will come beat me with a stick to remind me about that. She's really good about that.
Bianca's idea was she wants to see fast speed internet and Wi-Fi that the union offers to be better promoted under the Buy Hire Local campaign.
Oh yeah, that's right, Duncan. That is right. That's easy enough to do. We can put that into the copy and just make people aware that that is available to them. Terrific. Thank you, Duncan. I knew there was something there. All right. Any other new ideas that anybody wants to bring to the party? We've got some good stuff going. Kate.
This isn't really a new idea, but couldn't we combine kind of a hiking and skiing trail map and just color code the trails?
Sure.
Just so that it's like a kind of outdoor Cornwall.
Yeah.
Just
Good
rather than having like 600 different brochures for each individual thing, kind of.
Yep. Okay. All right. We have a campaign called Do It Outdoors. All right.
Yeah.
I know. All right. Keeping the coin in Cornwall board. No worries. Okay. Any other? Well, you have to come on. You gotta end meetings with a good note, right? Any other ideas right now?
Having a party down, have your meeting at the new restaurant.
New place? That's a great idea.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think, yeah, there's a lot of, just to give people some holiday early cheer, there's a lot of interest in people now. I mean, not numerically a lot, but there's the pipeline has some really good ideas as far as getting some music into West Cornwall on a regular basis and that kind of stuff. So there's more people kicking the tires out there to fill things up and have more events. So it looks really good.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, so keep your ears open. I mean, make yourself available to people who have the new businesses. If you have the opportunity to stop by some of these places, talk to them about what they're looking for. Talk to them about how we can be more of help. I try to do that. I do try to stop in the businesses on a regular basis, kind of gauge how things are going, maybe things that they might need help with. Okay, we are at the section of public comment. So if anybody from the public has new ideas or thoughts to share, then this is the time to do it. Hey, Michelle, what you got for me?
Hey, I love the idea of building the campaign around the local. Just want to add, keep in mind they're only open 2 days a week and a few hours each day. So if we're bringing people to town, they may be frustrated to arrive to find that place is closed. So having an alternative with that. I do love the local and I've sent people there all the time, but that is. And then Park and Rec is talking about a Santa activity, but we talked about it down in the village. So we need to have Bill get in contact with Johan or Jen so we can coordinate those and aren't doing cross projects.
Excellent. Okay. Jen and Johan. Okay, will do.
Exciting, thanks.
Yeah, so I mean the local, I think that there's going to be a push to get more hours. So, there's some grants that have been gotten. So there might be an opportunity to have that open more often.
Yay.
Yeah, right?
Nice. I love the place. It's great.
Yeah, I think so too. Neil, you got your hand raised?
Yeah, I don't know where the team is on the 2021 sort of strategic plan for the committee. And I know you guys said that you just really started meeting in September, but I'm sort of will raise my hand to help with that. And then I know that that you guys want to start thinking about the 2022 budget, obviously connected to a strategic plan too. So, I would be very happy to, work with whoever is appropriate to look at that, as well as the 21 marketing plan. And then just in sort of, shorter term, one of the things that I've been, looking at a lot is as sort of the town's owned channels, specifically its social platforms, real focus on Instagram. And Jenna, I know you and I talked about that a little bit too, but would definitely love to work with whoever's doing the Instagram and sort of work with them on building out that strategy and doing execution with them.
Okay.
I just think that's some low-hanging fruit that we can do really quickly, and the strategic plans, I would love to do that.
Okay. Perhaps we can connect on that so that we can kind of bring something back to this group, so that we're not wasting time in between. I think, yeah. So if you don't mind, we can connect on that, and then just start. We can pull a few other folks in just to get some feedback on that, and then we can bring it to the group, get group input, and then have the group, add their edits and changes, and then we can approve that.
Perfect.
That keeps the peanut moving forward. Fantastic. Thank you, Neil. I know, that's obviously you're the expert in that kind of stuff, and I really appreciate that.
Sure.
John Sanders.
Hey, it's John Sanders. Duncan, I am meeting with the Western New England Greenway Bike Trail people tomorrow, and we have been working a little bit on fat bike trails and cross-country trails already. So that's kind of started a little bit what you were talking about earlier. And I will bring, to them tomorrow. That's not what our meeting's about, but just to kind of touch back on that. And that's something I think we should get together at some point, and we can, whatever help we can give. Because I think all those things go together. The hiking and fat bike and cross country are all kind of the same nature, and we've been thinking about that for kind of decades, I guess. But would love to talk to you about that.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Okay. Anybody else from the public have any comment? Mr. Barry, would you like to say anything?
Not really, but thanks very much for the opportunity.
You're most welcome. Okay, anybody else have anything? Now is the time to talk, because we are at 8:35, and I really try to keep these as best I can to an hour. But one of the things that I want to encourage our group to do is give people, if people are on a roll with some ideas, let's give them the latitude to do it. So I'm going to try to keep it to an hour, because everybody's a volunteer, and I think it's important. That's how we've kept a full board. We kept this under control. But I do want to leave some room for ideas, and if people come in and they have great ideas, let's give them the time to share them, and I'm okay with that. I'm sure you guys are too. And if there's people who need to to check out because you've got family things and obligations, and I understand that too, but I want to try to give people as much space as possible, and that includes all you guys. So if you guys have ideas you want to bring and you want to have some time on the agenda, please don't hesitate to let me know, because I'll make sure to block out the time that you need to do that. All right.
So just one more thing, just to tie it together a little bit for the newer participants, and I like the idea of a strategic plan tied into your budget. What we normally do is your commission budget would be due to the selectmen by the end of January. So if you can start those discussions in December in a preliminary way, start your strategy, and then you can really nail it down at your January meeting. You'd be right in sync with what you need to do. But I think, again, having little flexibility is good, but also having this all tied in with a strategic plan, which seems like it's coming together, just needs a little bit more articulation. It'd be good.
Excellent. Okay. Any other?
Just one more thing about the budget.
Yes, sure.
In terms of getting it together for January, would it be okay to just have certain buckets like advertising and, like events and things like that. Because, like that's really early to nail anything down. So I think if we had kind of those broad categories settled, that would be better than actually saying like, these are the things we're going to spend it on, and then everything, as we've seen, everything can change. So, so maybe if we get more of those kind of generalities buttoned down, that would.
But I think also having a plan of generally where you're going would really be a nice thing to have with that too. And again, if things work out well in the winter program, then I would think if you put out a letter in the spring to the businesses, help us contribute, that brought in a lot of money the last time, and that was done years ago. But I think that would also give you, a cushion for your creativity that doesn't have to get budgeted. But as we are talking public money, that needs to be a little tighter. But if, again, there's places where the businesses have participated in the effort, that gives you a lot more flexibility.
Got it. Okay. So we're going to do a special meeting on November 16th at 7:30. I will send out the information on that. I will have to notice to cancel the 23rd, but if you guys can mark your calendars in advance, we can make sure that we set that aside. Okay, so we have no further business. Could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, can I get a second? Priscilla, all those in favor say aye. Heck yeah. All right, that's unanimous. Good night, all.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you so much. Great start tonight. Thank you.